146 billion 342 million 55,790 in respect of the votes contained in the first schedule, subject to paragraph 6, that is Committee of Supply. 4, makes the policy resolutions as contained in the fourth schedule. 5, resolves that the first schedule forms the basis for the introduction of the Supplementary Appropriations Bill 2024. 6, orders that the Speaker do now leave the chair to facilitate the consideration of the said budget estimates with respect to each vote and program in the Committee of Supply as contemplated under Standing Order 240, consideration of supplementary estimates in the Committee of Supply. Honorable Speaker, I first of all want to thank this House because we have had a very rigorous period for the last 2 weeks in consideration of these supplementary estimates. Honorable Speaker, this is basically supplementary one, but in reality and practically we know this is actually the main budget. And I say so because, Honorable Speaker, this was occasioned by the fact that in this House we passed the appropriations bill, which became an act in hope and anticipation that the other side of the budget was to pass also. But, Honorable Speaker, as we all know, Kenyans requested this House and the leadership that we look inwards and look for other alternatives. And, Honorable Speaker, that is the reason why we are coming to this House for supplementary one even before the implementation of the budget. For the past 3 weeks, the government has only been implementing that what must be done in regards to funding only the critical areas of the budget, whereas the other areas have been put in abeyance, waiting for this process, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this House passed a budget last month of Kenya shillings 3.992 trillion Kenya shillings. As we come before this House today, we are now having a budget of 3.88 trillion Kenya shillings. And therefore, there has been a decrease of around 111 billion Kenya shillings in overall. But, Honorable Speaker, this is not just the decrease. The decrease that I have talked about, Honorable Speaker, is pegged on 2 things. This House, after passing, then there was a wide gap between what we need to do in terms of filling in the whole of financing of the budget. And there are only 2 alternatives, Honorable Speaker, for us to invoke. One was to borrow slightly more, which we have done, Honorable Speaker, in this budget, where we are now borrowing slightly more to a tune of Kenya shillings, Honorable Speaker, 767 billion, up from our country to continue borrowing, and especially increasing our level of borrowing. Why? The problem we have now as a country is based on the fact that in the previous years, we borrowed more than we ought to have borrowed. And therefore, the weight is now on us. Honorable Speaker, I was just talking to Honorable Marianne Keitani just here, and she's actually very mad by the fact that some of the expenditure lines the Departmental Committee on Trade were considering, they felt they ought not to have been cut. But, Honorable Speaker, this is the situation, and I am glad my sister, Honorable Marianne, is listening. This is how it is. And I actually conversed also with the Chair of Trade. I had seen him here today, this morning. Honorable Speaker, out of this budget, Kenyans, this is our country, and these are the bare facts that this financial year we are in, 2024-2025, as a country, will be spending 1.002 trillion Kenya shillings in payments of interest rates alone. Interest rates in incurred out of domestic borrowing and also foreign borrowing will be spending over 1 trillion Kenya shillings precisely. I think 1.002 trillion Kenya shillings. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, we may come here and read a budget of 3.88 trillion Kenya shillings as we are doing today. But the fact of the matter, even before we finish reading, we are already paying interest rates of 1 trillion Kenya shillings. Honorable Speaker, the monies that we pay in terms of our obligations to the civil servants who have retired, Honorable Speaker, in regards to pensions, we are talking about over 200 billion Kenya shillings. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, even before we start negotiating about which projects to be done, 1.2 trillion Kenya shillings is off the table. Honorable Speaker, we have had also to do something unprecedented, which I will mention later. But out of that budget, Kenya shillings, 380 billion Kenya shillings is equitable share. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, if we do the math, we see what remains. But even more surprising, Honorable Speaker, you know, when we talk about debt service, it is not just a component of interest rate. It is also a component of also the principal. The entire expenditure in debts, Honorable Speaker, is Kenya shillings 1.8 trillion. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, what you've been doing for the past 1 year, out of 100 shillings collected by Kenya Revenue Authority, Honorable Speaker, 61 shillings has been going into debt service. And therefore, we are left now to grapple on what to do with the remaining 39 shillings. And that is the reality of the matter. Whoever is on the driving seat, Honorable Speaker, whoever is in the National Treasury, whoever is in which other position, those are the grim realities. Honorable Speaker, what we have done this time, and I am saying we because as a country we came together and we decided we needed to rationalize our budget, is that we have done also something unprecedented. One unprecedented thing is to bring a supplementary budget barely before a month ends after the passage of the budget. But secondly also is the kind of cuts. The cuts have been done in all levels of government. And I hope that the members are keen on this. The cuts have been spread across the two levels of government. Honorable Speaker, even the county governments are losing 20 billion in their equitable share out of the realities that we face at the moment. Honorable Speaker, the cuts have also been across all the MDAs of the national government. And I want to assure the Kenyan people, we have cut all the flesh. What remains now is only the bone. Maybe in some areas, even the bones have been cut also. And I say so because, Honorable Speaker, we have made sure there is no money left for us who are servants of the people, elected, appointed, those who work for government. There is no money for travel. There is no money for hospitality. There is no money for ostentatious spending. Honorable Speaker, because that is what the Kenyan people told us to do. Honorable Speaker, we have also cut money across all the three arms of government. The executive is losing, judiciary is losing, the parliament is losing. And Honorable Speaker, I want to laud the members of this house because we have come together and agreed these are difficult times. And for that reason, Parliament itself voluntarily, without fighting back, is being cut Kenya shillings 3.7 billion Kenya shillings. And Honorable Speaker, this is hedged on many things. For example, when we were conducting the budget committee meetings, we did them around here in Parliament, Honorable Speaker. And I think this is a good thing for us to continue doing so that we continue cutting excess weight out of our budget and we also just live with the bare minimum so that we channel the other resources into the growth of our country and especially our economy. Honorable Speaker, this is the first time ever since I joined this Parliament that NGCDF is being cut and members are clapping. Honorable Speaker, ordinarily, if any chairman of budget would stand here and talk about cuts in NGCDF, Honorable Speaker, I think the motion would have to adjourn. But then these are unprecedented times. And that is why even NGCDF is giving up the increment that had been scheduled, Honorable Speaker, so that we first face the critical areas that Kenyans have directed. Honorable Speaker, we came here and moved 14.5 billion Kenya shillings that was to go into last mile connectivity